RTD Live Talk, Detroit's number one late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night live stream. It is the 12th day of the month of October. Excited to be back and excited to check in and see what's been going on, as well as to talk about what appears to be an ever increasing trend of every nation, every developed nation, especially, is in the rush to come up with the rebranding of their legal tender, i.e., the digital currency, or the rebranding of their currency in the digital form. So looking forward to talking about some things I want to share as far as what's going on in China, as well as Japan, as well as the euro, and you name it. And so we'll get into that. But as always, for those that are tuning in, welcome to RTD Live Talk. My name is Mike, the host. Any new viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from in the chat, and I will definitely acknowledge your presence and appreciate you for joining us. And so let's get right into it. And I will thumb through some names real quick and welcome a couple people, share a couple articles, share my 2 cents on it, and then open up the phone lines and love to find out your thoughts as well as whatever else is on your mind. So let's get into it. Mr. Johnson from Florida, North Florida, how you doing, my friend? We got Timothy Hunt, we got Jim Diggs, we got John. We got here for King DJ. We got Luke Excalibur, Sunset, Rob, Natural Mom in the building. All right, so a fair amount of people here. Let's get right into it. So hope everyone had a great weekend, and the last couple of days especially. And so what else? There's so many things we can touch on, and so that's why I depend upon you guys to make sure you keep your ears open and eyes attentive to what's going on, and definitely keep us informed. But one thing that caught my attention today, outside of the course of stimulus talk. And so I try to keep a more wide open viewpoint from a macro standpoint. And every nation, ECB stimulating, talking about stimulus. We got, I think I posted an article earlier about, I think it's Poland, discussing negative rates. And so stimulus, the possibility of negative rates, as well as the digital currencies appear to be the main storylines that it's mainstream news, but yet they're not talking about it. And of course, the world is watching all the fiasco here in this country with the presidential election coming up. We got Todd from Wixom. How you doing, my friend? Appreciate you for joining us. Solo, how you doing? Tony B in the building. Okay. So one thing I want to get into, because I was reading through an article and just how everything is being rolled out in China in particular is a good example of what I believe we can expect here. And so we know the Federal Reserve being the primary and the leading central bank because of the reserve status. They can't be too far behind with the developments of the digital dollar or whatever they want to rebrand it as. But it's going to be given to the public here in the U.S. Because of the same issues that's happening everywhere. But I think China, this article here paints a good picture as to why it looks like China is really ramping up their experimentation by having a lottery. So let me get right into this article here and share with you some things if you guys haven't had a chance to see it. But article here, just the title alone speaks for itself. It says China held a 1.5 million lottery to test a new digital currency. And so in thumbing through this article here, it gives a good idea as to, what we can expect in some form or fashion. But just to skim the surface, it says China is taking a digital currency test to a new level by giving away more than 10 million yuan in a lottery. It says the State People's Bank of China gave 50,000 randomly selected citizens a red packet worth 200 yuan or $30. It says to spend. So the goal was to put it out there so they can spend. Why? Because the Chinese economy is not doing so well as well. And so one of the primary reasons for this rebranding of our currency happens to be the paper system as well as the debt system is imploding. So they rebranded it, trying to, throw us something new while we're moving our cash and making us solely a digitally dependent upon our government based upon these apps. So it says to spend at several thousand designated retailers in the Shenzhen Luo district. So the idea is to not only test the technology involved, but boost consumer spending in the wake of this current situation. So two goals here: to test it and to boost spending. Because as always, as more people are being plagued by the economic conditions surrounding them, they're not really concerned with spending. And so what better way to incentivize people to spend other than to give some away, to see how it goes, to get an actual live test sample of how it goes, and then get ready to roll out to everybody. But it says the winners will be required to download a Renminbi app in order to receive the digital money. So once again, test to spend how this Renminbi app in order to receive the digital money according to his state China Daily. It says after that, they'll reportedly be able to buy goods from local pharmacies, supermarkets, and even Walmart. And so once again, we've been talking about China jumping the ship early, getting a head start, leading the way in its digital yuan. And so they've already have everything in place. Now they're just beginning to roll it out. And of course, we're about 2.5 months away from the end of 2020. So you better believe by the beginning of 2021, China will have the app in the hands of all how many ever billion people they have, ready to issue it according to how they see fit. So that's just one story. But once again, something we can learn from here, because you better believe the Federal Reserve will follow suit the same way. They may not do the lottery, but yet when it comes to the universal basic income program, they're going to definitely be putting the next, probably the third, it's the third round of stimulus might be done via digitally through that, the Federal Reserve app, however they're going to throw that out here. So, but I thought I would talk about that just because outside of all the other noise and static we have out here, I think this digital transformation is something that's going to be really big, because no matter what your viewpoints are about it, it's something that's coming your way. And now it's a matter of how will you handle it? How will you respond? What will you do? And so I've been trying to think about how I will respond, because I actually put up another article here, and this is all a part of issuing something relatively new in a time of extreme pain to get people used to the idea of the digital transformation and the rebranding of the national currencies in all these countries. But it's going to come with a caveat to it. If you don't comply, you don't obey, it's going to be cut off. And so here's another article here. It said the ECB is looking very seriously at the creation of a digital euro, according to Christine Lagarde. And in thumbing through this article here, it says a lot of the same things here. She said e-commerce rose almost 1/5 in terms of volume and size. So once again, e-commerce, shopping online, that's one of the big things they want to have it for. It says, but she said a digital euro will only be a supplement to cash and would never replace it. Now, at what point could you ever believe a politician when they say it will just be a supplement, it will never replace it? Come on now. So once again, ultimate goal as you read through all this is to replace cash. That's what they want to get this to. And so every nation is up here trying to race to get the digital currency up and running for their country and distribute it to you through some type of app. So what I want to talk about, what I want to lead off with tonight, and then I open the phone lines, is what's your game play? What's your game plan with this? Because it's coming. It's just a matter of when. And I'll be trying to think about how I would approach this, just because it initially up front, it's going to be offered, whether it be because the goal will be to get everyone to download the app at first. And so what better way to get everybody to download the app other than to offering free stimulus funding or something of that nature? So you better believe there will be some type of stimulus incentive attached to that. And of course, it's all packaged at, helping those that are unbanked and, whatever. But everyone has a smartphone primarily. And so everybody here watching will probably download the app, because you would want your stimulus injection of probably $1,200, give or take. So, okay. So on the stimulus, when you download the app, you get that stimulus. Now that's the first step as to how this new transformation in this decade will begin to play out, because now what will you do with it? Will you look to go out and spend it as China is trying to do to get their people to spend it? Or will you automatically go to the ATM and withdraw it and get it into cash form? And so I've been trying to think about how would I approach that. And that's what I want to talk about and get your guys' thoughts on it. And so, of course, depending on where your financial situation is, some people might need the cash in dire straits to actually pay immediate bills. Others just use it for some fun money. And so I'm thinking, like, first thing I would do, and first thing I plan on doing, depending on how everything plays out, we'll see where we're at that point. But instantly, every time there's some type of stimulus given or some type of funds provided in my direction on an app, I'm going to immediately withdraw it. I don't have a need or see a need in keeping anything in that system, because around the same time we get into this downloading of an app and the third stimulus or fourth stimulus payment, or depending on what income level you at, they might try to throw that UBI at you. It's going to be with the idea you're going to park it on there and keep it there, similar to what happens with the stimulus that's given to you via check or direct deposit into your bank account. They want to try to mimic that same format. And so once again, I personally will be looking to withdraw and get cash, because I think once that app is downloaded, then that's when the timer for the remaining opportunities of having cash in your possession is really in full play, because at that point, it's just a matter of time before we start hearing some follow-up news saying that the Federal Reserve, and I actually saw an article out there, I didn't verify it, but it was an article saying that the Federal Reserve, of course, initially caused the coin shortage by basically just not reissuing coins back into the circulation. And so paper will eventually become a problem as well. So we see the Mint looking to dial back on how much gold and silver coins and how, what months or whatnot they issue gold and silver. So you better believe the Federal Reserve will begin cutting back on the amount of paper notes that they look to bring into existence to further the pinch and to further the pain, which will make it even more important for the public to really begin using their apps. And so that's just my 2 cents there. As soon as something is downloaded to me, I'm going to take it out, just because there's no need for it to sit there, because once again, you will earn on interest on it. So it's basically more of the same we have now, but just under a different format. And the question will be, how long can we keep that going before it's too late? Vince Grant, appreciate the love offer, my friend. It says all central banking digital currency will be backed up by their gold holdings. It'll be the initial part of the global reset. Next step is the mark. So Vince, here's one of the things with that. And so the whole idea of gold backing, gold holdings, once again, here in the U.S. especially, there has, outside of Mnuchin mentioning, I think it was 2 years ago, via tweet or text, that the gold is all there. The U.S. in particular have never mentioned the words gold as any form of a monetary asset or financial instrument whatsoever, other than Steve Mnuchin initially tweeting. And so I don't think the U.S. will look to even mention it, just because if you mention or make it known that there's a gold backing, instantly people then who receive that digital app stuff will know that there's also an alternative to the digital form. So I don't really see the words gold or silver being mentioned publicly, but of course, those that are aware will definitely be taking advantage of it. And of course, by that time, it's going to be hard to ignore the amount of attention metals will be getting, because outside of this, noise we're hearing with the digital app and digital stuff like that, gold and silver will definitely be surpassed. Even silver may have surpassed its previous all-time high, which will make it hard to ignore. So a lot of people will be looking to get physical, to where I don't see the government putting handcuffs on themselves by using the words backing, because that will limit the amount of digits they can create. So once again, the amount of currency in circulation will continue to expand, and it's going to just be transitioned right into this digital rebranding of the dollar, because once again, there's no limit on the supply of, I can't say coins, but there's no limit to the supply of digital units that they're going to bring into existence outside of what's already out there. So it's more of the same. So I don't see gold backing. And then, of course, what's going on in China. China's not backing their stuff by gold directly, even though they've been very upfront and allowing their citizens to be able to buy gold throughout the country. So obviously gold's a part of the plan, but I don't think Uncle Sam's going to tell us about gold on the forefront. But that's just my 2 cents. I could be wrong. Debt and Regret says China is banning companies there from importing coal from Australia. Okay, China is putting their chess pieces into position, ready to say checkmate. Yeah, and so Debt and Regret, man, I'm hearing more and more about the struggles down in Australia with all the hyperinflated bubbles, especially in the real estate industry. And I'm hearing they're still trying to incentivize people to continue to take out debt and loans. And, also let me know. I think there was some legislation that was looking to be passed on, banning cash or banning certain amount of cash in circulation and things of that nature. And I also heard about some gentlemen talking about a politician there talking about actual outright bail-ins, like publicly allowing cash to be held within the banks and used by the banks for the bank's recapitalization. So assuming you're down in the Australian area, let us know what's going on down there. And so, yeah, left me ranting, man. Let's talk a little bit. I'll open the phone lines and I don't want to hog the mic. Want to definitely open up for you guys. So I'll check in. Also, highlight at Rethinking the Dollar, and I'll try to get to that. So Solo says, Mike, what are you going to take it out in? They'll go digital. They're going to give you a fiat to do what with, to do what? They're going to give you other fiat to do what with. So, yeah, so my personal idea or plan, this is all, it's all just initials, nothing's set in stone. But yet, I personally, I am not, I've never been one for the digital revolution that we are being headed towards, because once again, once we get solely into it, there's no bringing it back home. And so me personally, I'm a person now who still uses cash. And so I believe cash, even though it's being heavily debased, it's worth less now, it's going to get worse, but it's still something physical that is property that you currently have in your possession to use at your own discretion with some sort of privacy to it. It's not absolute, but it's something that you can do business with without the world having to know what you're doing it with. So I still value that myself. And so while cash is still coming out of some ATM machines, I'm going to make sure I continue to get it, because I think that's the last stand you can take before this is solely rolled into a digital economy outright. And so once again, it was always a matter of, we know the cashless society push was inevitable, but yet nobody really foresaw that, a pandemic would be used as a cover up for the crumbling of the economy. Nevertheless, them probably going to begin using, it carries the disease and stuff. So I've seen articles utilizing that type of narrative. And so basically getting cash into your possession, and it still spends. And so as long as it still spends and can still be used as a medium of exchange, is definitely something worth using. And of course, unfortunately, as we see, a lot of the box retail stores, and especially all the retail stores that are publicly traded companies in particular, those will be the companies that will no longer accept cash, say by probably like next summer. And so outside of forcing people to download the app to get your stimulus or whatever, and then on top of that, them trying to disincentivize the need of cash in your possession by requiring all those stores that receive government stimulus PPP funds, they're going to be required to only accept that particular payment method. And then, of course, that's going to definitely disrupt all the other financial companies such as PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all those other financial apps or whatnot. There's going to be some challenges with that, because if there's one that, okay, put like this, the Federal Reserve, the ultimate goal, I believe, is to own every single thing that's physical. And so they're going to issue this app and try to disrupt every single financial entity, including the commercial banks. Because once again, once this Q3 earnings comes out, the banks, they're going to try to paint a pretty picture that they haven't taken many losses, but yet the economy was shut down. People aren't paying anything. People not paying credit cards and home loans and you name it. They're hurting. And so the too big to fail banks will be done away with. The Federal Reserve will be the last bank standing, and they don't want competition. So all the PayPals and all those other, entities, they're going to be done away with eventually, to where the goal is, and mark my words on this, I could be wrong, but I believe that this, the central bankers, the financiers of this current debt-based paradigm, they're very greedy and stingy. They want all the love to themselves. So I'd imagine the ultimate goal is to have, or is for them to they only want to have one financial app on your phone. That's the ultimate goal, which will take some time. But believe me, they don't want no competition. And so they're not going to allow. And so here's the thing with the Chinese situation, it looks like they're allowing the Chinese PBOC, they're allowing certain banks. They're working through certain banks and like Alipay and some other apps or whatnot. They're working with them. I don't see the Federal Reserve being willing to work with all the other PayPals and all the other stuff. And of course, when I see some talk about Bitcoin here, and you better believe between now and next summer, more than likely, the whole stable coin situation, that's done for. Like, they're going to put a halt to all those derivatives of their own digital currency now. So the stable coins, they're going to be gone. So we'll see how it plays out. But this is just me ranting right now. John Colorado, he says, do you think the stock market will ever go back down? Tech stocks are just outrageous. Apple up another 6% today, massive bubble, in my opinion. So, John Colorado, I am not a technical analyst or chart reader, but there's a lot of smart individuals that I've had a chance to interview over the years, and a lot of people believe that it's due for some type of correction. And so outside of the Federal Reserve continuing to pump in, and of course, Jerome Powell is getting very antsy because his stimulus talk is taking too long. And I even got an article here that talks about Pelosi. Right now, her party's getting a little mad at her because she's continuing playing hardball while the public is struggling, and it's making her really look like everything she's doing is political in nature, not necessarily about getting the best deal and, providing aid for the people or whatnot. So my personal opinion is that the stock market, while it will continue to go up and surpass the all-time highs, it can go parabolic, but yet at some point it has to correct. So it will either continue to skyrocket in devalued paper, and then the digital dollar, however we begin pricing however we begin pricing the actual Dow itself and all those other equities, because if eventually it's going to be denominated in the digital dollar, however that plays out. So I think even if it goes up, the purchasing power in all of that will be very minimum at best. And when it corrects like it has throughout history, there's going to be a lot of people left holding the bag of possibly owning shares. But once again, how do you know you own what you own? So as of right now with Robinhood and Square app, all those apps right now, everybody's trading and betting, but ain't nobody holding nothing tangible to proof of anything. So there's my 2 cents here, but I'm doing too much ranting. I apologize. Let me get some calls. Hello, caller. What's that? Where you calling from?
Steve calling from FEMA Region 9.
Steve from FEMA Region 9. How you doing, my friend? Give me a quick thought real quick. I'm trying to get as many people as I can in the night.
I think the 49ers stadium, if you look that up real quick,
the
49ers stadium is basically saying that if and when they reopen, all cashless.
Yeah.
Total. don't bring your cash.
Yeah.
Etc. And if you go to ban.video, I guess Canada is basically saying that they are opening FEMA camps or internment camps, whichever one you want to call it.
Yeah.
But if you go to ban.video and just scroll down, probably about a 5 to 8 minute thing that's on there.
Yeah.
And it's the government saying it right there on air.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Let's go to ban.video and just scroll down until you see Canada caught opening internment camps.
Uh-huh.
And they're saying, the government people are saying right there on air.
Yeah.
that they will put people in camps.
Not good at all, man. All right, so let me see. I'm here now. All right, go. Keep sharing your thoughts, though.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Joe. I typed in ban.video now, trying to find that, and so just go ahead, continue on.
Just go to the homepage and just scroll down, because there's a whole bunch of other stuff on there too. But just scroll down until you see that, and it's sitting right there, and you can hear it right out of the government's mouth.
Okay. So I see on the main page here, they have all their videos here. This is Alex Jones. So give me the title of it again.
It's called Canada Caught Opening Internment Camps, and just scroll down through it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them there, but if you catch it, it's on there.
Okay.
And they're basically saying yes, that they're going to put people in the internment camp, and they're going to divide the families, because you want to have children in adult camps.
Yeah.
So if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I see it right here. So I'm gonna actually copy this. I'm gonna copy this and put it in the chat.
Absolutely.
All right. So I appreciate you, man. Let me get a couple more people in, but it's good to hear you. And appreciate you for always putting us on game.
Ain't no problem. Take care.
All right. Be good. Wow. That's yeah. So once again, man, this is Canada caught building quarantine, and man, Yeah, so here, I'll put that in the chat for anybody want to click on that and find out more. But this is real news, man. So I appreciate you for keeping us up to date with that. Low blood pressure says the dollar I had to slide my credit card between the goodies at the strip as far as cashless. Oh, man. Okay, so I see another debt and regret says Australia has having housing subsidies and grants, income tax cuts, and pushing for a 10K cash ban, which can be lowered later with no Senate vote. Wow. Yeah, man. That is, yeah. So, yeah, Australia seems to be leading the way as far as the overall agenda of where all developed nations will inevitably head. And so I think, of course, it'll be impossible the U.S. to be the test subject. But unfortunately, Australia and all the other countries look like test subjects for what will be coming here last. And the reason it's coming here last because it's going to cause the most pain and disruption inevitably. So, yeah, man, thanks for keeping us on with that one. All right, so sorry about that. I missed a lot of calls, but give me a call. Let's talk. I see says we have quarantine camps. Trisha, very true. Talking about said how many police we got them outnumbered. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland.
TB, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm not bad at all. What's on your mind tonight, boss?
The bank earnings come out this week.
Yeah.
And you are going to be surprised at the amount of money they made. The banks ain't losing money. Banks never lose money.
Well, watch this. Once again, I believe that what we're being told and what the reality is are so far extreme we will never know the truth. Because when you think about the amount of losses and all the things on their balance sheets of all the debt obligations, collateralized loan obligations, subprime, all this, that stuff is not being paid. So the question will be, how are they so profitable unless they're just only counting the PPP funds, all the funds they're getting on the surface that we know of? I don't think we're going to actually get the true numbers whatsoever, but that's my opinion.
Well, I appreciate your opinion, but I'll give you a little pushback.
Okay, go ahead.
The Fed's printing money. Who the Fed's giving money to?
Oh, it's been funneled through the banks. It's been funneled to the banks.
Okay. And the bank owns what? Property?
Mm-hmm.
So the bank sends the property back to the Feds.
Yeah.
And the bank never loses.
Mm-hmm. So that's the mortgage-backed securities you're talking about there. But what we have the auto situation as well as on their books, and all the collateralized loan obligations, the commercial mortgage-backed securities. So that they're funneling a lot of that stuff to the Fed's balance sheet. But then again, I would imagine there's a lot more than their derivatives exposure, and yeah. So there's a lot of stuff on there, a lot of damage out there.
They're buying junk.
Yeah.
What is in junk?
Yeah.
There's a lot of junk out there that's being bought.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
And it's paying for it, and ultimately we pay for it.
Yeah, the taxpayers are always on the hook, man. They'll be like, we're gonna be, yeah, yeah.
Sounds like low blood pressure's got the right way to go, huh?
What do you say? What do you say?
I said it sounds like low blood pressure's got the way to go, huh?
Oh, you talking about max out your cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in retrospect to all that, the bank gets the Fed's only printing a low amount of money, but the bank gets to leverage it 10 times.
Yeah.
And when they give it back to them, they give it back to the bank at a higher rate that the bank gave it to them, the 10 times.
Yeah.
So that's where we go off. We think, okay, it's just a small amount of money. No, the bank gets to leverage it 10 times, and that little bit of money turns into a humongous amount of money.
Yeah,
and they're selling it back to the bank for more than what they pay for. And what are they paying for it? Next to nothing.
Yeah.
What are the Feds giving them for that loan? Next to nothing. They're selling it back to the Feds for 2%. I'll pay 2% all day long and not lose a trade.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I'm gonna let somebody else get in.
I appreciate you, man.
Good, my friend.
Be good.
Later.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Sounds like a Ponzi scheme if you ask me. And so I got a visual aid here I want to share real quick. Let me take this call here. And then I want to share a visual aid that I think is very telling of actually how much cash has been created in the last couple of months. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Mike? This is Dwayne from the Midwest, man.
Dwayne from the Midwest. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Not Well, what's the deal? I got two things that you said. The
Okay.
cashless, us going cashless.
Mm-hmm.
I think by us going cashless with the dollar, I think it's going to create a black market.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas cash, you're going to be able to do cash on the black market because one thing, the privacy of cash is just can't be beat. You know, so as long as we willing to accept cash in exchange, as long as the banks are willing to accept that cash, the question is how long is the banks going to really be willing to accept that cash? Because
Right.
you know, even though a retailer might not accept it, as long as the bank's willing to accept that cash,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think cash is going to have its value. The end game would be like when the banks say, okay, we not accepting no cash, or you guys need to bring your cash in all at once, blah, blah, blah. But as long as the banks are going to accept cash, I think there's going to be a market
Yeah.
for cash. And it actually might start selling at a premium.
Yeah.
If it comes short.
It
So
definitely.
it's going to create a market for cash.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Yeah.
That's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to comment on, I want to get your take on what you not. The guy was talking about the federal, the banks making all this money. Well, we got to realize, remember before all this went down, right?
Mm-hmm.
They passed a law, an accounting law, FASB, that's FASB law.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that FASB, that FASB law said
Yeah.
that if it's an emergency, I think I'm paraphrasing, don't quote me on this, but the whole idea of the FASB law, in situations of emergency, that they could take the accounting off book, so they don't have to do general accounting. So they can have a profitable quarter when we don't know because it's all going dark with the FASB law.
Yeah. Yeah, very true, very true. So, that's that, the 21 missing trillion and plus all the other missing trillions. So, of course, there's more currency that's been created than we will ever know, unfortunately. So, yeah, you're right about that. So, yeah, go ahead.
So think of it like this. So if you got a bank, like if you own assets, so if you own a bank, let's say you have a business, a bank, you're a bank,
Mm-hmm.
and you own assets. Now the assets, so that tells me my assets don't have to perform.
Yeah.
I can restructure. I can get money from the bank and reclassify that as a revenue.
You could change the rule. You can change the rules of the game in the midst of the game, and nobody will ever know or can know about it because.
There you go. Now you got it. And think about this, Mike. This was passed before the COVID even came out.
Yeah. I got it on the screen here from the Solari from the Solari report.
Yeah.
So I'll put I'll put the link to this. Yeah, I put this link in the video here so people can take a look at it and if they don't know what you're referring to. So good stuff, man. Way to bring this up. So that's what I think. Like there's so many different angles and so many different things that can be brought up that kind of helps to get a better understanding of what's going on. But once again, no matter how the game is played, we're on the losing side because the game is designed by them. They write the rules and they are the ones that's overseeing it. So how do we get around this? It's one of the things where take whatever you have now, whether it be the digital app cash or physical cash, get something that can preserve and protect your wealth. And you know what that is.
Right. But Mike, I got to say one thing though.
Yeah.
I think, when you look at markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so far the people haven't had a rebel against the how can I say it? You haven't had an organically pushback from the masses of America. You haven't had an organic one.
Right.
I personally think, even though we say, that they right now, I don't think that they have. I think they're overplaying their hand because we haven't seen the pushback or I should say an organic pushback from the public, and they haven't seen that. And you have to put that in the equation. And how that's going to come. I don't know how that's going to come. I don't know how it's going to look. But they haven't put that in the equation. And guess what? They can run simulations for it, but you cannot simulate the human behavior. That's all I got to say.
Very true. Pushback. Yeah, I think it might be a while before we actually see pushback because majority of the population really don't know what's going on under the surface. So right now, everyone's distracted with, next month's election and all the political emotions behind all that. So it might be a while. And that's why I think the pushback might come when inflation actually exceeds what they're trying to, shoot for. and then the food shortages. I'm hearing more and more about IMF, the World Bank, World Food Organization saying the food supply and shortages. So that right there will probably be what triggers the majority to say, hey, something's not right here. This currency is not buying me nothing. There's nothing on the shelves. What the hell? And that's when the pushback. But that's, that could be, a year, 2, 3 away, at its peak possibly. So who knows?
Yep.
But hey, appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
No problem.
Yep.
No problem. Take care, bro.
Be good.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good call. Good thoughts. So let me share something with you guys real quick. So here's something I think that can help put things into, a decent perspective of where we've been positioned with all this quantitative and easing to infinity. So here's visualizing the U.S. money supply versus the precious metal production in this COVID era. So this is a little visual aid here that, let me see if I can zoom down so you guys can get to see the full effects of this. So here is a visual aid here. It says the total production per person. So it says in the COVID era, how does the value of the U.S. gold and silver coin production compared to the U.S. money creation? So as of right here, you have this big wad of paper and digits that's been brought into existence, roughly, $10,250. And I think that's per person. That's the total bundle of cash would equate to about $250 per person. If you take into fact there's 300 some million people, whatever, that's how much each person would roughly get to date. And so in regards to the amount of gold and silver minted from the U.S. government mint, as you guys can see, if you look over here to the far left, we got silver. It says 2020 U.S. gold coins minted will be the equivalent of $4.79. And so that's what it would cost. That's the cost given the total supply of currency that was created per coin, which basically means that nowhere near the amount of coins were brought into existence as paper. And of course, for silver here, it's $1.65. So that really, to me, shows how rare and how precious silver is, given the fact they've made a lot more as far as mint ego sales. Anyway, but here, just more information here. It says, put another way, here's how much U.S. currency is issued for each new coin minted. So this is a small amount here, 150K. We got 4 million per gold. And so once again, the amount of paper that they've created in comparison to the amount of coins minted pales in comparison. So once again, we're talking about the silver eagle situation, how they're going to be changing the price of some of their higher up coins or whatnot. This right here plays into that equation. So anyway, thought I would share this with you guys. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, I'll put this in the chat as well so you guys can take a look at it. And then what else we got here? It said low blood pressure. I got 5,400 stimulus, almost there, Mike. 5,400. Almost there. It says Trump 2020 Renee. What else we got? Biden has dementia. God help us all if he wins. Yeah, man. I'm hearing more and more about him sick and coughing and all that other stuff. So, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's Pete in District 2.
Pete in District 2. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
I want to follow with Tony and push back with you a little bit.
All right, go ahead.
Because he said one thing that was wrong.
Okay.
He mentioned the 10% bank reserve requirement.
Mm-hmm.
What is the current bank reserve requirement set by the Fed?
Bank reserve requirement, I want to say it's 0 now. That was as of March something. They said there's no requirements.
100% correct. The bank reserves are now 0.
Mm-hmm.
How much cash is in existence?
More than I'm aware of, but according to what they tell us on the
physical paper.
Physical paper. I want to say I lost track, but I want to say close to 2 or 3 trillion now, or 2, but definitely above 2 trillion, whatever the M1 is. I lost track. Let me find out. Go ahead.
What percentage of the amount of money outstanding would that represent?
Not even 1%. So well beneath 1%.
So if banks have a 0 reserve requirement,
mm-hmm.
if they have infinite access to bank reserves
mm-hmm.
from central banks,
mm-hmm.
how exactly can we have a bank run in this environment?
Okay. So, I mean, technically speaking, put it that way, we can't have a bank run because there'll be more than enough paper that they'll be willing to supply. Now, I don't think that's a part of their game plan, is actually to provide everyone with physical cash if they actually went down looking for it. And so,
well, they won't provide you with physical cash. They
correct.
can just give you a cashier's check, and you are made whole.
Or they can just transfer somewhat of your balance into the new Federal Reserve app and give it to you in digital dollar form, and you'll be made whole.
Correct. So, but my point is, to push back, it's not, it's the gold story narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The rules were in fact changed in the middle of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So the traditional gold story narrative kind of collapsed when the rules got reinvented.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's wrong, but what I'm saying though is that we have to all embrace that the fractional reserve banking system no longer exists, and we are completely now, globally, living modern monetary theory.
I can go with that. I can go with that. Well, only thing is, as of now, is the taxation side of things, because if we are in the MMT phase or plan, a part of that equation is a heavy taxation, and the whole idea of them cutting taxes to zero and get rid of capital gains tax, all those taxes, it definitely buys them more time, because at some point they're going to have to start bringing some of that currency back in if they're trying to control this through higher taxation. So, that's that. If Biden wins and hiking taxes, but go ahead.
If we're in MMT, then the currency coming back doesn't matter because it's just digits on a screen now.
Yeah.
It's not currency that goes into the hands of people that go into circulation. So the rules literally just changed.
Yeah. Well, you got yeah. Well, you got a good point there.
So, like I'm saying, it doesn't mean that your base case is wrong. I'm just saying that, we have to recognize these things and that things have evolved.
Yeah. Yeah. The digital revolution is underway, and it's not even really fully in play. But go ahead.
What happened the last time around 90 years ago? I mean, they didn't, confiscate our gold for $20 pieces. They made us turn it in for notes.
Yeah.
And then after as many of them were turned in as possible, it was revalued.
Yeah. Ooh.
Why would that not occur with cash?
Yeah, good point. Hey, very possible. It happened in Venezuela. Overnight they had to turn in their 100 Bolivar notes, and then within a couple of days they redenominated, and people took a major haircut, and they got a higher note with more zeros on it, but still. But yeah, that's definitely a change of rules in the midst of this game for sure, if that is the case. So, man.
But we're not on fractional reserve anymore. That's over.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. There's zero reserves.
Yeah.
We're playing a new game. It is, in fact, modern monetary theory.
Mm-hmm.
And this game is a little more complex. It could be a little more wild and fun.
Yeah. Which buys them, unfortunately, by them having changed the rules and i.e. changing the game, could also buy them more time, to where we always talk about this has to come to an end at some point, but maybe it doesn't, because they're changing the rules as they go along to suit them best.
But when inflation got out of control, they changed the measure of inflation in 1980. They changed it again in 1990.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember 2003, 2004, they removed the M3 monetary supply.
Yeah.
I remember in 2008, you no longer had to mark to market. You could mark to model. They always change the rules in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And we literally are now, we have 1 million new unemployment claims a week, and unemployment is going down.
They've changed the rules on how they calculate employment or unemployment. Oh,
Well, it runs its course. Their employment runs out. They're no longer looking for a job. They're no longer unemployed.
yeah,
But, these numbers we reference, they just don't mean anything.
right.
The rules just. But
Very
I mean,
true.
like I say, it doesn't mean your base case is wrong.
Yeah,
It just means that how the score is kept just keeps changing.
yeah.
It's very dynamic. It's very complicated. It's
Yeah.
not simple.
Yeah, I agree, man. Hey, man, Pete, it's always good for you to come in and add your 2 cents. I appreciate you, my man.
I appreciate you, Mike. Your live streams are actually like nothing but fun for those of us who are into this.
Yeah, definitely. It keeps me going, man. It keeps me sharp. And having people call in and share their 2 cents gives me more to turn around in my mind and think and try to, plan and see and strategize. So, hey, man, I appreciate you.
Well, the only comment I'll say to that is having debate instead of just preaching your ideas.
Yeah.
We have to have thoughtful debate or we'll never evolve.
Right,
We
very
evolve
true.
if we don't debate.
That's good, man. That's why it's great to have a great community, man. I appreciate you for being in it.
Appreciate you.
All right, be good.
You bet. Goodbye.
Yes, sir, man. Good stuff. Way to go back and forth, man. I appreciate that. It's always good to get a chance to hear from everybody and get everybody's input as to where we're at. But yet I'd imagine everyone agrees that this digital revolution is underway and we're in the midst of it. How it plays out, we will see. But yet it's one of them things where the rules are not in your favor. And so unless you are actually watching, navigating, learning, listening, and trying to strategize and always tweak your own plans, that would be the best way to move forward, of course. So it's one of them things where outside of all this digital stuff, we know physical resources, natural resources, things that come from the earth will always remain valuable and have value. So, of course, get your weight up. So, all right, people, getting ready to dial back. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me tonight. I won't be taking any more calls, but we will hopefully pick up tomorrow. Same time, same place, Lord willing. And as always, for those that have enjoyed the back and forth, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button. Just hit that button beneath this video here. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to scroll down. And I got all types of resources of free information provided. And then, of course, I want to make sure those that are interested, I want to make sure I give you an idea as to what's going on. Get the RTD Silver Collector's Coin for those that are interested. My motto here is to get your weight up while you still can. No matter what you spend right now, metals is as cheap as they're going to be because next year, I would imagine you would wish that you've gotten as much weight this year as you could. So other than that, be blessed, be safe, people. I will see you guys tomorrow. And other than that, if you want to support the channel beyond, the coins and whatnot, the merchandise, feel free to become a Patreon. Your blessings will definitely go a long way there. But other than that, I will leave you with this. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.